Tropical storm Gordon will develop shortly in the Atlantic, and could a disturbance just east of the Lesser Antilles also become a tropical depression or storm? Your forecast across the Caribbean and the Bahamas starts right now.
This is Meteo Mundo.
Hi friends, Rusty back here at Meteo Mundo. It's very nice to see you on a Thursday. I hope you're doing well. Coming up in this video, several areas of tropical potential to talk about. Tropical storm Gordon is on the way in the Atlantic, and we'll look at your island by island rainfall forecast as well. As we get this video started, I do want to take a second and thank all of those of you who joined me for yesterday's live coverage of Hurricane Francine here at Meteo Mundo, our 6-hour coverage. Had a lot of great discussions with you guys. Our thoughts are with our friends in Louisiana and other portions of the Gulf Coast that were impacted by Francine. For those who are in the chat, or if you live in that area, let us know in the comment section below how you're doing today. We want to get that update from you guys, and if you're doing well, if you're still having some problems. Big time flooding through portions of Louisiana with Francine yesterday. So we'll get this video started taking a look at the broad shot of our enhanced infrared satellite imagery, live lightning data here at Meteo Mundo. I think the first thing we'll begin with here is just kind of what things look like in the big picture, and we'll take a look at the current temperatures that are on the board for you right now, because several of you in the comments have mentioned how hot it's gotten again. These are your temperatures in Fahrenheit. They're reaching the upper 80s to the lower 90s. It's also very humid outside in a lot of spots. We've had some areas that have been a little bit drier than what we typically see this time of the year over the last 5 to 7 days. When you factor in the humidity, you get that heat index number. Again, that's the feels like temperature on the body. And there's just a couple of areas to point out here. You've got Kingston that hit about 114 for a feels like temperature. That's a feels like temperature that's pushing 50 degrees Celsius. Again, that's what it feels like when you step outside. Grand Cayman was over 110 for a feels like temperature as well. Portions of the Lesser Antilles again. Even Barbados got hot before they had some showers and storms. Santo Domingo's feels like number was well above 100 Fahrenheit. And our friends in the ABC Islands again were pushing some low and mid 40 Celsius feels like temperatures. So it's been pretty darn stinking hot outside as well. Let's talk about the rain, and we'll actually start in our northwest areas and then work our way to the east and talk about this invest as well. So the first spot we're going to go to is our friends in the Bahamas right now, where a couple of showers and storms are beginning to develop. They're developing in the far northwest side of the Bahamas, and they're working their way on down. We'll take a look at the radar data here for you. I'll drop off the satellite data shortly, and you can see it's a cluster of rain and storms from Walker's Key to Grand Bahama, Freeport, Lucaya, near Bimini over Abaco, developing, getting a little bit stronger, a little bit healthier right now, right over Andros, and trying to drift into the New Providence, Nassau area as well. Again, these have been areas that haven't had a ton of rain lately, so cooling off a little bit with these showers and storms is a great thing. They'll continue to try and churn their way south towards Eleuthera and Cat Island in the Long Island area, but a lot of this is going to probably fade before it gets that far to the south and to the east. Now, there's still been a few spotty showers back down in the central and the southeast Bahamas for today, but it's certainly been more concentrated in the northwest Bahamas, and overall, that's actually what I'm expecting over the next couple of days as well. Just isolated showers for our friends in the Turks and Caicos on this Thursday afternoon. Storms have really yet to go gangbusters over Cuba yet, but in just the last hour, they are developing, and that will continue to be the trend. They are pushing to the south and to the west, and so they are trying to get into places like Jamaica, where we have had some healthy thunderstorm activity for today. From the Kingston area through the central western portions of the islands. You can see the live lightning count here at Meteo Mundo. When I pause this, and we'll just kind of stair step this forward here. Again, we're getting some pretty healthy thunderstorms. They developed near the Kingston, Portmore, Spanish Town, or Harbor areas, and then a nice blow up of storms on the western side of the island at the hour. Santa Cruz, north towards Cambridge, Savlamar, Negril, towards the Lucy area, Montego Bay, all with opportunities for some heavy showers and storms. Negril right now is actually getting the brunt of that. So we've had some decent rain today across Jamaica, showers and storms for some of you, again, not everyone, but even more moisture is going to be diving in off of southeast Cuba. So we'll stay with a decent rain chance at least until sunset on this Thursday, and then try and redevelop some of those showers and storms later for Friday as well. It's been quieter across the Cayman Islands, but still the opportunity that some of these showers and storms here north and east will make a run into the area. Drier air in general behind Francine has encompassed the Gulf of Mexico in the far northwest side of the Caribbean. And you can see that again, all that red behind Francine. So we just don't have as much moisture here to play with. And that means it's been a relatively dry day from Cancun and Cozumel back towards Chetumal, San Pedro there in Belize. Same thing for Belize City, on over towards Roatan, San Pedro Sula. Just a few showers and storms, but it's very isolated in nature. Moisture is certainly more abundant in the southwest side of the Caribbean. So Costa Rica, Panama, again, it just feels like we're getting daily showers and storms in these areas. They're cranking in with some lofty, heavy rainfall totals. It's been hot and dry in the ABC Islands. The opportunity that some of these storms off the mainland try and move north, but we'll talk about getting a little bit better chance for rain in the ABC Islands overall in just a little bit as well. My friends in the Dominican Republic and Haiti, it's been quick moving showers, mainly on the Haiti side of the island for today. Port-au-Prince towards Lacaille, relatively quiet, relatively hot for places like Santo Domingo, Santiago de los Caballeros, and Punta Cana. Storms are getting more active right now at the hour over portions of the U.S. and British Virgin Islands, but especially over Puerto Rico, where we've actually had a couple of flood advisories on the western side of the island. Let's take a look at the live radar out of Puerto Rico for you right now. Drop off the satellite data again. Now, a lot of these storms have pushed their way back offshore, but earlier in the day here in the far northwest side of the island, we had a heavy enough rainfall to promote a few flood advisories. There is still some rain near the Isabela area at this point in time, and a few scattered showers and storms are just kind of developing in small isolated areas towards San Juan, a little pop-up shower storm there. Same thing towards Fajardo. We might see a couple of showers near Vieques and Culebra as well. St. Croix, a couple of showers there. They don't need more rain. Again, they've been dealing with a lot of flooding in St. Croix and other portions of the Virgin Islands as well. And a couple of isolated showers over St. Thomas, just to the north of St. John and west of Joost Van Dyke. But again, we've had some pockets of heavy rain in those areas for today. Let's go back over to our satellite imagery. I'm going to bring up the visible satellite imagery here, put this into motion, and then we're going to talk about more this disturbance. Now, I still want to highlight what's happening in the Lesser Antilles for today, and then we'll get deeper into it. But just to kind of talk about this to begin with, we do have Invest 94L here, okay? And it's continued to hold together despite the fact it's actually really encountering some very unfavorable conditions in the upper levels of the atmosphere and even down to the mid levels as well. But we still have a nice concentration of some showers and storms, and this is going to try and work its way north and west. Now, like I said, we're going to get into the full details of this coming up in just a second, but obviously we've had some moisture develop ahead of it, and you can see that the Hurricane Center now has put this development area as far west as portions of the British Virgin Islands. So even though the chance is only 30% that this could develop and that it's going to be running into less favorable conditions, the opportunity is there to have a depression potentially move into the area, more than likely staying just an open tropical wave, but it's also going to be bringing another round of heavy showers and storms. And today we've had some of that develop across the area, passing showers, some heavy rain, a little bit of lightning close to Anguilla, a few showers and storms near the St. Kitts and Nevis area towards Ceiba and Statia, Barbuda, Antigua, nice little blow up of storms over the Guadalupe area. Let's bring on our enhanced satellite imagery. You can clearly see that right there, trying to lift up towards Antigua, but it's also kind of dissipating as it does. We've had sporadic showers developing near Dominica, Martinique, a couple of storms there on the western side of the island. St. Lucia, it's been more active down towards St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Barbados for today, where again, we've had pockets of heavy rain in all of these areas, not the entire islands, but portions of Barbados and St. Lucia, especially down towards St. Vincent and the Grenadines with some healthy showers and storms. Same thing for our friends in Trinidad and Tobago as well. Again, flare up of storms at the hour. Some of those are also kind of sneaking west towards Nueva Esparta. So that's the broad view of what's going on across our area for today. Bermuda is getting into a few isolated showers and storms, and we'll talk about this non-developing system, meaning it's not tropical here, but could be more rain for the United States East Coast. We'll do that in just a second. First thing I want to do is, again, thank everyone for tuning in yesterday. you want to do me a small payback, just like this video right now. Subscribe to Meteo Mundo if you want these daily forecasts across the Caribbean and the Bahamas and your tropical updates. Remember, it's always free. Share with your family and friends, and thank you for finding other ways to support the channel. Really appreciate those who did that during our live stream yesterday. Okay, so now let's talk about these individual systems. First, we're going to discuss is what's going on right now with Invest 94L. Let me bring up the visible satellite imagery. And again, decent outflow. You can actually see there's a little bit of convective banding going on right now. So it looks relatively healthy. Now, to let you know how far we are away, let me bring up our spatial tool here. And we'll look at how close we are to, we'll say, Anguilla. How does that sound? So we are, right now, about 350 miles from Anguilla. That's somewhere around 550 kilometers. I know it's over 500 kilometers. So we've still got some time as this moves north and west. And obviously it's a little bit closer to places like Antigua and Barbuda. When we take a look at the water vapor imagery out of this, okay, this is why the Hurricane Center doesn't feel like there's an extremely high chance of actual development with this. Let me just drop off this formation zone. Do you notice all of the red here? There's actually a lot of drier air on the western side as this tries to move in. And then there's actually just a little bit of wind shear at the mid levels of the atmosphere. So although it looks pretty good right now with a decent blow up of a few healthier bands of rain and a couple of storms just west of the center, it's still going to be moving into, at best, marginally conducive environment. That's why we're not going gangbusters with this one. But the Hurricane Center has basically said, look, this is relatively resilient right now. It's even a little bit stronger than what we expected at this point in time, which is why they've kept the formation zone and they have now pushed it into areas like St. Kitts and Nevis and Anguilla. So from Guadeloupe to the north. Now, regardless of whether this becomes a depression or even a tropical storm, although that doesn't really seem to be on the table right now, it should bring ample moisture our way as we get into the weekend. So rain chances are going to stay relatively high, and even back down into the Windward Islands, there'll be a little bit of moisture that will be coming south as this pulls to the north and to the west, and rain chances there will also be relatively high as well. I will bring on the computer models, these spaghetti plots, and you notice that all of them, if they try and hold it together, do take it right over Antigua and Barbuda, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Eustatius, St. Bart's, St. Martin, and the Anguilla areas. If it holds together after that, we would be talking about portions of the U.S. and British Virgin Islands and maybe in Puerto Rico. The interesting thing with this is, and I'll take off the satellite imagery so it's just a little bit easier to see, is that some of them actually do this big old curly Q. Just kind of bring it back here and spin it around because the steering currents beyond this get relatively weak. But again, to reiterate, there's only a 30% chance of development with this system. Let's take a look at the NAM model for you here real quick, and we'll look at that system. Actually, I think I do have it fully loaded up, which is excellent. So again, we're going to watch this come on, and let me bring on the model timeline on the top left-hand side of your screen. Let me just make sure I've got everything loaded up the way I want to. Here we go. Okay, so again, the NAM doesn't really have this doing much as far as any true low level of circulation, but just notice that the wet weather begins to move in, right? Starting tomorrow through our Saturday and probably beginning to dry out on Sunday, but squally weather. We'll get some kicked up surf and sea conditions out of this thing, and we'll get some decent rainfall totals as well. We'll look at that in a minute as well. And you can just see again, sorry about that, it's pushing a little bit too, not pushing that far west, but the moisture in general just tracks to the north and to the west. So regardless of a low level center of circulation, it's gonna start to get wet again, especially in the Leeward Islands, British Virgin Islands, portions of the U.S. Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico, maybe as far west as the Dominican Republic, although most of the models, again, have it gaining latitude and staying well east of the Turks and Caicos and the Bahamas. Again, whatever becomes the next named storm, it's going to be Gordon. It's probably not going to be this one. It's going to be the one off to the east that's already Tropical Depression number 7. But again, we've now crossed Francine off the list. So we have had 6 named storms, and 4 of those have now become hurricanes. And again, if you don't know, Francine was a Category 2 at landfall yesterday in southeast Louisiana. All right, so let's take a look at the GFS pressure here in the Lesser Antilles. All right, letting this loop up on this Thursday into Friday. You're going to take a look. Is there a big bullseye there? No. GFS model does not develop this tropically at all. It stays as an open wave, a tropical wave moving through as a disturbance, nothing more than that, okay? So even though we have these spaghetti plots running on it because it is an invest, not a high likelihood that we're actually going to get true development. Even on the NAM here, if I switch over to the winds and I loop this up, so we obviously know that we're not getting any development out of the GFS model. Here out of the NAM, again, fresh winds coming into Antigua and Barbuda and St. Kitts and Nevis and Anguilla, but letting this wrap up here, hopefully it'll be fully loaded in just a second. We don't see any real tight center of circulation, all right? Not really concerned about this, and even if it does develop, it's gonna be very weak in nature. But just wanted to point that out, that invest is holding together right now, at least a little bit better than what it was forecast to do. Thought it might have already been ripped apart, but it's going to bring us some pretty squally weather across portions of the area. Stick around. Give me 1 second here. For some reason that do not want to end this video, but the system lost its display. Give me 2 seconds. There we go. We're back. Not even going to edit that out. Things happen, right? All right, so let's get into what's going on with Tropical Depression number 7. Here you go. TD number 7 has formed in the open Atlantic. Winds are 35 miles an hour. This is the one that is forecast to become Gordon. Obviously, we have a track from the Hurricane Center because it is a tropical depression. Again, likely to become a tropical storm, and that more than likely will happen sometime tomorrow, maybe Friday night, or latest would be early on Saturday, but Gordon is likely to develop out of this system. And again, our forecast track keeps it very far north and east from the Lesser Antilles, Greater Antilles overall. We're looking pretty good as far as that one goes. Let's take a look at the GFS model with that one. And we'll go ahead and just go out a full week because I want to also mention what's going on right now up there as well. So we'll take it out a week and loop it up. You also notice, by the way, in the GFS that there's going to be nothing coming out of this system as well. All right, and I've already showed you the pressure. Again, the GFS probably has too little rain associated with that, but no real concerns there. Back over to what should become Gordon. Again, we can see it wrap up towards the end. Is it a very impressive system? No. Is it strong enough to be a weak tropical storm? Yeah, more than likely, okay? And again, at the end of the period, it gets right out towards the end of the cone. So GFS, Hurricane Center are all about that same track. And beyond that, it should continue to move north and gain latitude. And there's a very high end chance that Gordon will be nothing but a fish storm. Now, we still have this area of yellow here off of the coast of Florida, Georgia, and the Carolinas. This is going to be off of an old frontal boundary. It's not going to become anything tropical, but it could develop a center of circulation in a hybrid fashion, one of those subtropical storms, spin up and then try and bring some heavy rain back into the mid-Atlantic states of the United States. So this should basically spin like a top over a couple of days over the weekend, and then early next week try and push its way back on shore. But for Bermuda, there could be a little bit in the way of some lingering rain with a broad upper level low that's east of that. And you can see right at the end here, you're going to catch a little bit of a twist right in there. Again, no actual development. It's something to monitor, more than likely in the mid and the upper levels of the atmosphere. But off of the east side of that, we'll probably get some decent rain chances for Bermuda as well. Now, looking overall, again, you can see the GFS model does have a couple of signals with this pushing up to the north and to the east at the end of the frame. So I don't want to discount it fully near Bermuda or north, but there's not a high chance. This would be Gordon kind of just sitting out there. We've already talked about how Invest 94L does not develop, but this is the one I'm talking about near Bermuda Monday and Tuesday of next week that moves up the coast. The other one that's pushing inland, no real signal again for that to become truly tropical. And a couple of the GFS models do have Gordon getting a little bit stronger, but again, as of note, when we go out one more time with this, as we get into our Sunday and Monday, and it's so far away from the Lesser Antilles, there's no issues. Again, it's bending back into the open waters. At this point in time, any of those that I just mentioned are no concerns for our areas. The only one is Invest 94L, and again, very low in chance of actual development with that. Now, for the European model, okay, we'll let this run one time and then we'll get back to the beginning of it. You will again see nothing out of 94L into the Lesser Antilles. A couple of signals with the one off of the United States East Coast, but again, it pushes back towards the Carolinas. Gordon is healthier on the European model, could be a little bit stronger, but again, same true track, if you will, same track as the GFS and the Hurricane Center. Well, it's well into the open waters of the Central Atlantic. And again, right towards the end, we get the potential for a signal here, maybe just north of the Bermuda area, something to monitor there. But obviously, this far north in latitude is also getting into cooler waters of the Atlantic fairly quickly. There's only one little signal there, close enough to have any concerns, but more than likely, all of these are going to be pushing into different areas. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is actually look at the rainfall chances here, island by island. So I'm going to have to switch over like this. That's fine. Let's bring up, it's going to back this back down to just a few days. That way we're not going too far out here when we're talking about it. No, that's good. Yep. So we'll take a look at the rainfall chances in your area over the next 3 days. Obviously, it's good news that there's not going to be a lot more rain in Louisiana. I just want to highlight that as cleanup efforts there are continuing, and hopefully that moisture is receding. A few showers are possible as we get into our Sunday. For our friends in the Bahamas, expecting scattered showers and storms to develop each and every afternoon. The best chance will be in the far northwest Bahamas. I'm talking Walker's Key, Grand Bahama, Abaco, Bimini, Andros, New Providence, Eleuthera. Slightly lower chances, Cat Island South, Exuma, Rum Island, the Acklins, and into the Turks and Caicos. You're looking at a 20, maybe at best 30% chance over the next 5 days. Showers and storms will continue to develop across Cuba in the heat of the day. Those should still have a north to south movement, trying to bring some of that rain back into Jamaica and the Cayman Islands. But overall, I think the rain chances will actually be a little bit lower for Jamaica the next few days. Same thing for the Cayman Islands. We're looking at spotty showers and storms at best in most of these areas. Obviously, with the heat of the day, these storms will be flaring up. Look, just like today, some of them could be intense, heavy downpours, a lot of lightning, but more choice locations than being widespread. And just like today as well, your feels like temperatures could be above 110 degrees Fahrenheit. Again, just a couple of spotty showers for the Cayman Islands. The drier weather continues, especially for Quintana Roo, back down towards Belize and Guatemala. The air is just drier in the northwest Bahamas and over the Yucatan over the next several days. Rain chances will be a little bit higher, Honduras south, into Nicaragua, Costa Rica, and Panama. Nothing outrageous, but again, a little bit more tropical moisture in play here, spinning back into those areas. It'll also be relatively wet in the northern sides of South America, and as I've mentioned, it's going to try and push a couple of showers towards the ABC Islands the next few days. Nothing significant, passing downpours, but just to have a chance for rain in these areas, which seems so desperate for showers and storms, it's a nice thing to talk about. For my friends in the Lesser Antilles, again, on the GFS, a little bit weaker with this disturbance than I think what's really out there right now, but you can see that moisture just kind of developing again over the next couple of days. Rain chances in general will be lower south and higher the farther north that you go. Now, Trinidad and Tobago could be exception, a little bit closer to some moisture coming off of South America, but Barbados, Grenada, and the Grenadines, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, St. Lucia, Martinique, a little bit drier compared to Dominica, Guadeloupe, and everyone up to the north. Again, as this wave begins to work its way into the area, we already looked at that, but I'll switch back over here to the NAM just to show you that one more time. Again, you can see that wave coming in, and passing showers will continue. And again, boaters, mariners, be cautious of that, especially in the exposed waters. So rain chances go up for St. Thomas, St. Croix, and St. John over the next couple of days, for San Juan and Ponce, and for our friends in the Dominican Republic and Haiti as well. Rain chances will begin to improve in these spots. Now, I'll switch over to the rain chance. Had the slides a little bit in misorder. Apologize for that. For the northwest Bahamas, 40% chance for showers and storms the next couple days, back down to a 30 on Sunday. Not expecting as much rain, central southeast Bahamas and the Turks, the Caicos. Still decent rain chances for Cuba. Cayman Islands rain chances at best tomorrow's 40% chance, then actually even a little bit drier for Saturday and Sunday. And that's about the same forecast for Belize City, Cancun, and Cozumel. Can't rule out some passing showers and storms, but they're not going to be widespread. But again, some local intense rainfall is possible. That always happens this time of the year. Jamaica's rain chances 40% tomorrow, then a little bit drier for the weekend. Again, watch out for the heat. Here comes the Dominican Republic's rain chances going up, 50 tomorrow, 60 Saturday, Sunday. Puerto Rico follows suit. U.S. and British Virgin Islands will be relatively wet. Bermuda's rain chances, as that system pulls off the United States East Coast, go higher and higher, all the way up to a 60% chance on Sunday. Then we get into the wet weather with that disturbance. Anguilla, St. Kitts and Nevis, 70-80% chance for rain the next couple of days. Still a 50% chance on Sunday. The axis of that disturbance should be west of the area by Sunday. And I'm talking about the Lesser Antilles. And rain chances should begin to fall throughout the day on Sunday. But it's high the next couple of days. Antigua, Barbuda, 80 tomorrow, 70 Saturday. Same thing for Montserrat, 80 for Guadeloupe tomorrow, 60 on Saturday. Then we fall back down to 30 and 40 in all areas. Again, farther south that you go, lower rain chances. Still a good shot for Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, 50 on Friday. Same thing for Barbados. And look, Barbados has had some pockets of really heavy rain in some choice locations the last few days. And then we'll dry out Saturday, Sunday. Grenada's a 50% chance for tomorrow. Drier for the weekend. Holding on to a little bit higher chance over Trinidad and Tobago, Suriname and Guyana. Nueva Esparta, good rain chance for tomorrow. Isolated Saturday, Sunday. And again, we cross our fingers for our friends in the ABC Islands for a bit of rain for Friday, with only a couple of spots of rain possible for the weekend ahead. So taking a look at those waves coming in. Because the GFS model does not develop the disturbance, you're not going to see anything outrageous, okay? The biggest waves are actually going to be produced in the western Atlantic, closer to Bermuda, off the United States East Coast. But again, freshening up of those winds are likely. It's going to be relatively quiet in the Gulf. We could also see some swells developing in the northeast Bahamas, those long period easterly swells. I'll be monitoring that for you here. But the rest of the Caribbean, relatively speaking, we'll be enjoying a little bit more tranquil weather, lighter winds, especially central and into the western sides of the Caribbean and into the Gulf of Mexico. So it's our northeast and far east areas with the highest surf and seas. Rainfall totals over the next several days, they're going to be high. As this disturbance gets back off the coast of Florida and into the Atlantic, we're going to see some decent chances here over portions of Central America as well. And again, you can see some of that rain build in. Now, again, the European model doesn't develop the disturbance as well, so it's just a little bit of rain coming along for the ride. Most areas, we're talking about 1 to 2 inches with some isolated higher amounts, especially in places like Central America, Cuba, portions of the northwest Bahamas, and then just west of Bermuda. Friends, you can follow us across all of social media. You know, I appreciate the support. It's Instagram, TikTok, X, Facebook. You want to send me a picture or video, it is myMediaMundo@gmail.com. Again, you have a specific question about the forecast, feel free to drop it in the comments section below. I'm happy to answer that. And while you're down there, I really do appreciate you liking this video and subscribing to become a subscriber and to support the channel. Have a great rest of your Thursday. I'll be back tomorrow. We'll look at the tropics and your weekend forecast. That's all right here at Meteo Mundo.